This is day 6 and day 7, and the technique that is emphasized here is called the sweep in mass, meaning when you go through Vipassana, usually you go slowly, part by part, and also all the way back inside. And then when it's finished, you go up, going up, down, and up, down. Each may take 15 minutes, or you may forget in the middle of it because you're just doing this monotonous thing. But again, the idea is to see if you can connect to your heart or the body. So when you pay attention at breathing, you're paying attention to the small area, and you do it for 3 days and a half. And from the 4th day, you start to go into Vipassana. It's like moving from this point only to different parts of the body. And then you may feel blockage, meaning empty spot. Then you spend little time, minute or so. Why is it? Is there no response? And then move on and move on. And when I do it like this, with this finger kind of pointing, I can feel the sensation, the body is responding, which is a good sign. And it shows that the quantum mechanics kind of thing, observer and observed, you watch and you being watched. So ultimately, you get the whole body vibrating. And for that to happen, this sweeping mass is mass sweep without any movement, just sitting and just to go through. When I was doing this, actually I don't remember anymore. I just was obedient, doing whatever I was told. I did it. But sometimes you do it for a long time, you get tired, you may take rest. So let's see what's in here. So the theory here, projecting craving or aversion toward outside object is a game that does not bring peace. You're thinking outward, no peace and happiness inside. It is an endless game that we cannot win if we just play the game of craving or aversion. So can we control how others behave so that we are undisturbed? Oh, I see. So others meaning outside world. Is it the best way for finding happiness that you are entangled with others? And if we try to do so, is it not like a tyrannical king controlling the poor peasants with power, telling what to do? Or if we become powerful, do we stop there? Or do we keep buying better computers, cars, houses, and so forth, or travel to the mysterious land, or even to the space, moon, Mars? There's Mars in there, and to the next galaxy? Craving, aversion, external world, what's the challenge? Well, that's important. That's how we evolved in a way, but do we keep on doing it? That's the question. The Buddha was claimed and abused by someone at one time. So that's the interaction with others outside. Instead of responding, he kept silent. Just stayed awareness and equanimity. Later, a person asked the Buddha, "Why did you not respond?" The Buddha said, if he does not receive a present, The present has no place but to go back to the man who brought it. Similarly, instead of getting involved in emotional trouble, to activate the law of multiplication, which is monkey mind, just send the gift back. Just leave it there. Just like troubled water will eventually quiet down, peace and harmony will come back. For this reason, we should create a moment to pause even a millisecond to observe before we react to our emotion or negatively conditioned mind. Even with a millisecond, there will be a major difference that can be cultivated. The millisecond becomes a few more milliseconds, and the journey can lead to being aware of our situation more clearly and staying equanimity for a long time. By the way, what I found interesting was that I received these anecdotes with full attention as contrasted to casually reading them in the book. With strong devotion and perhaps receiving Dharma with my full body, Dharma is law, I think the words may have reached a different level in my mind to be fully digested. I can say this because many anecdotes stayed with me after the course was over and came back when I found myself in a similar situation, which had reference to the anecdote. There is something about such a learning process which penetrates into our unconscious level that we can grasp to benefit in our life. Perhaps writing this project itself is a representation of such a learning process for me. So it's not just writing. I'm doing the YouTube. Still continuing. So that I don't forget. Next item, universal truth. Misery is misery in any country or any religion. Shila or moral conduct is Shila, even the language or location is different. Samadhi is samadhi. Quiet and peace in mind is desired by all. Prajna, or the Panya in Pali language, it is living wisdom to liberate us from misery. So underneath the dogma, rituals, different symbols, languages, or images is the universal truth that we can all abide by. This is what we are addressing. In this sense, Vipassana is applicable in any language, any race, cultural, or religious background because it is about the universal truth. The Buddha is the man who is awakened to this universal truth and shares the wisdom. It is pragmatic and scientific, as proven by laws of nature, which is Dhamma. Dhamma is Pali. Dharma is, what's the word? I forgot. Okay, I move on. Sanskrit. Today, Vipassana is practiced by people from all religions, as it does not create any conflict, so far as the focus is on the universal truth and liberation from misery. Meditation can be applied to all, whether he or she believes in any religion or not. Also, meaning of life is not to be found in a distant world of abstraction, but in paying attention to everyday happenings and experiential facts of our life. Memorable events. Hypnotism. I remember this one. Every now and then it appears that Mr. Goenka reads the Pali Sutra in Hindi or Pali language. This happens when we are sitting. There's a sound from the speaker, and while we're meditating, what's going on. Usually, perhaps for 10 minutes, but sometimes lasting 30 minutes or more. While puzzled by his intention to do this at the beginning, I took this as a test of being in the state of awareness and equanimity, as opposed to taking this foreign sound in a negative manner. Also, every now and then, I felt like listening to his voice was mere vibrations on my hand. No good, no bad. It is. His voice is so deep, so you feel it. You felt it. However, listening for a long time with eyes closed like this, I thought of the potential for hypnotism. From early on, I started to develop a strong sense of trust in him, even though I remained careful in digesting his discourse with full attention. The contents of the discourse, the way this course was run administratively, and the coverage and depth of his knowledge and insights were reasons to have the sense of trust and confidence in him. I felt the term, may all beings be happy, conveyed a very genuine spirit. Rewiring the neurons, which is like eradicating error, takes one to be almost at the same state of hypnotism, could be alpha wave mode, sitting in the dark room with eyes closed and hearing unrecognizable sound vibration going on and on. It may even facilitate solidifying the learning or eradicating the error, even like mother's lullaby. Yet when we play with our mind-body system, hypnotism can become an issue as history has witnessed. But all mothers use skillful means to raise kids with a sense of love, do they not? Then I wonder, what is wrong to learn not to kill, lie, steal, or abuse beings by hypnotism if it brings happiness for all? Here, hypnotism may be seen as an effective learning mechanism. Also, it appears that there is a connection to good friendship and leadership, almost like a gravitational pull that comes across from a dedicated, noble, and spirited man. Is it not, after all, a direct connection of compassion and wisdom as they come across and not hindered by any artificial means? Is it not, after all, the same thing to happen in our own mind-body system, the miracle of living in peace and harmony beyond human logic? Let us carefully observe and experience with awareness and equanimity. No, I was actually a bit concerned about hypnotism, chanting, but just like the case of Namu Amida Butsu, you let go of yourself, throw yourself into the house of Buddha. And that was good. Well, it doesn't have to be house of Buddha. It could be a house of God or the house of the way of nature. It's the heart that is the core, is the way I see it. After the rain, this is another event, memorable event. The morning sky was thinly covered with clouds with a blue sky in the back. Toward the sky up from the teacher's residence, I saw a beautiful misty cloud hovering, reflecting the sun in the most delicate color. I remember that. The words cannot reproduce the scene and the subtle shade of colors. I was alone on the top of the hill, amazed at looking at it. I think this could be before the first session in the morning. But at 4:30, I was already in the hall. But anyway, what a delicate mixture of colors with such a subtlety. The clouds changing their shapes and colors are just showing me what impermanence, anicca is I think Pali, meaning impermanence. We had rain during the night. As I walked around the walking path loop in the morning, I saw a few raindrops still hanging on leaves. I remember, of a short eucalyptus tree. Each dew looked clear and pretty, shining in the morning light. Yeah, your mind is so pure. So even now, 5 years later, I still put me in that situation, and wow. So anyway, as I noticed dew on the tip of the leaf, I could not resist but to taste that drop of water from the leaf. How sweet it tasted. There's another story here. I love this story. Ants were busy walking across the trail. That's another memorable event. A group of ants was moving toward the food, and the others were carrying back the food to home. I then noticed one ant carrying an extra big piece bigger than the size of his body. When he got stuck by the pine needle, he needed to figure out ways to pull this piece of to continue his mission. No ants were complaining about having a heavy load or taking more rest or anything like that. Every one of them was actually working to do the job. I walked through them very carefully. May all beings be happy. I then realized that such incidents like this represent nothing but the direct experiences of being. As such, by purifying our mind, oh, that's not a nice word. That's really purifying. We may find many more treasures all around us. What was funny was to discover essentially the same scene described by Hakuin. He's the Zen monk, famous one in Japan, and he had the similar experience of the ants carrying. Actually, just briefly again, I don't think I said it in here. This scanning kind of process is in Japan. There's a book called Orategama, and the process is very similar. The idea is put the butter on your top of your head and think it melts and it goes down. So that's the exercise that the Japanese people got from China, I'm sure, and before that, probably from India, but maybe switched from the Vipassana to something different. Nobody knows. But I thought this story of Hakuin reminded me of that Hakuin did such a meditation. By the way, I remember a practice of Buddhist monks in India of not going out for a certain period after the end of the rainy season. It's over, so that they do not step on these little creatures coming out of the ground. This is Shila, also representing compassion in whatever we do. All right, that's the end of the 6th and the 7th. So the next one is the day of that Earth-Shuddering event. So to be continued, that will be tomorrow. Thank you.